You can't help yourself if you suck. Okay, you need to fix yourself first. Well, how do you fix yourself? Small wins. It all goes back to the small building blocks. People want to overcomplicate it, man. It's not that complicated. If you know you need to exercise, exercise. If not, you'll deal with the consequences. That's fine. If you want to be poor, be poor. If you want to leave hate comments, that's fine. Do that. It doesn't bother us. It doesn't change our lifestyle. It is what it is, but it's your choice. And I often tell people the rich and the poor are both self-made, but only the rich will admit it. The poor person will never admit that they're broke. And that they're responsible for it. If you're 15, 17, 19, 21, like I get it. If you've had a bad life, you have some come up that you still have to do in your life.
Even then, and I could talk.
I get it.
I was 15 years old and I was homeless.
Yeah.
But if I look back critically and looked at the time, I had an argument with my mum. I didn't compromise. She didn't compromise. And I got kicked out.
And she had leverage.
Yeah, she had leverage. Now, you could argue that was self-created, because if I had accommodated her and maybe worked it out, then I wouldn't have been homeless.
Yeah.
So it was self-inflicted. Although I blame her for most part of my life.
And most of it is once you get to that point of self-infliction, you understand that you're self-inflicting both negative and positive. So you're fully in control of everything.
Yeah.
And what I like about that is that nobody can take your wins.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like nobody wants to take your losses. That's fine. I get it. I'll eat my L's by myself. I'll deal with the garbage. That's fine. But when I win, I'm gonna savor that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's what we talked about. If you want to experience pleasure and you want to experience trophies and winning, perfect. You're gonna have to deal with what it takes.
Yeah.
And that's what most people are not willing to go, because they have that 9 to 5 paycheck mindset, which is, I work today, I get paid tomorrow. I work today, I get paid tomorrow. And if that's how you think, then you're living on today. It doesn't work that way. If you want to build true wealth, you need to be building imaginarily first as to what it is that you want. And sometimes that takes saving, that takes structure, that takes becoming a new type of person.
If you want a new community around you, like
a new circle of people,
it's hard for people. They grew up in certain towns, certain villages. They got their hometown.
Yes,
I've got 3 brothers. Two of my brothers, I don't like them. But that's really hard to say. You just assume because you're born into the same family, you're going to be the same. But you have to learn to be disciplined and say, well, they're not the people I want to be around,
and that's okay.
That I almost feel like that's my fault. Like that I'm born into a family where some people I didn't like. But I think people got to admit it. And maybe make the life they want, take control. Like you say, take ownership of that. And then you own the wins if you do that.
And the beauty about the wins is that it gives you the confidence that the small L's take away.
Yep, totally.
And you start cycling that and you go to an upward spiral. People talk about the downward spiral. They never talk about the upward spiral. The upward spiral is just positive momentum and positive momentum reinforcement. You go fast, and you're like, damn, I'm getting lucky. No, you're not getting lucky. You're just reaping the reward of the effort that you put in 5 years ago. The loser calls it luck. Because they have no ability to dictate their life. There's no such thing as luck. Everything in life is a game of what? Probabilities. Probabilities. So the question is, how do you increase your odds of success?
The more risk you take, the luckier you get. It's actually the key, right? So let's just finalize this at the end now. The high demand piece. I just want to, can you just dig into that bit for a second for us?
So let's talk about high demands. Let's go a little bit more on the business side. So nowadays you have what we talked about, your services, your products, and your goods. You need to be able to present them to people. If there's no eyeballs, not going to make money. So there's a couple ways. First of all, your business needs to have an online presence, whether you like it or not. Even if it means just having Google and having your customers leave a 5-star review, because whether you believe it or not, people look at that. And that's the first the first interaction, the first impression, and it matters. So first of all is the impression. Before you get traffic, anything, what's the positioning? When inbound traffic comes, whether it's organic or generated, doesn't matter. What's the first impression? What's the first impression of your business?
By the way, I always tell people, if you have a website, for example, which I think everybody should have for their business and for themselves, if your website, for example, a link doesn't work on it, I make a judgment about that business. It's not well managed. It's not. First impressions matter, and I think a lot of people don't realize how quickly people will make a decision whether or not they're going to work with you. So your high demand drops instantly because you're not following these basics.
And you improve it as time goes on. So how do you do it? Feedback. What is feedback? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So what's the feedback telling you about what you're doing? Are the reviews good? Are the reviews beneficial? Do you manage the images on your social media presence? Yes or no? Like, what is it? How is it that you are positioning yourself to recruit new talent? I realized I was like, people think LinkedIn sucks. But who thinks that? I'm trying to find super top tier talent. Okay, looks like I need to have a LinkedIn presence because that's where a lot of professionals happen to be. So that's what the feedback told me. So I had to act upon the feedback. And then I started getting better people on the inbound because my first impression was great. People knew what they were getting into. So the first impression is super important. Second is we're going to talk about organic traffic. So we talked about trends and we talked about narratives. If you want to reduce your cost of acquiring a customer, because there's a specific cost to acquire a customer, and you should know based off of your product how much it's going to cost you to acquire a customer. If you're selling a product for $97, okay, perfect. If it costs you $200 to acquire a customer, that's not an issue as long as you have a high lifetime value, because you're paying in advance for the future lifetime value of the customer. Let's say it's 1K. But if you're only focused on the short-term money, you're going to lose out. And you're going to have to focus on acquiring a customer for really cheap, which is totally fine if that's how you want to do it. Let's say it's a drop shipping approach, Let's say you're selling a product for $97 and you acquire it for $25. So in this case, you can make front-end money, but you can tell that it's not that much. You can run off of small margins. So organic traffic, capitalizing on trends, narratives that are taking place. I like social media. That's what I utilize. Social media will tell you what's hot. You go on Twitter, it'll tell you what's trending, and you can create product demand based off of that. Then you can have what I would call your inorganic, or you would call your paid traffic. And paid traffic is going to be divided into two categories. And this is a new category that has just come out recently that I've mastered. We're going to talk about paid traffic because if you want to acquire customers nowadays, you're going to most likely have to pay for attention. So the first type of paid traffic is where you pay platforms. So you pay platforms, whether you want to pay for ad revenue, like that's your ad expense, whether you want to pay for like banners, whatever it is, different platforms operate differently. So this is your paid platforms: Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, Google ads. This is where people are. So over the last 15 years, paid platforms made a ton of money because the only way to interact with people was to notice them through an ad. It would be very hard for people to know who, for example, let's say Ty Lopez was back in the day, unless he had that in my garage ad. What if he made a YouTube video, just posted it, maybe 5,000 people would have seen it. He had to use paid platforms in order to push his message. However, 2 years ago, TikTok rolled around and took over, and they introduced distribution. Your ability to reach people that have never interacted with your content before via the For You or the Explore.
This is what exploded for me. I mean, we had a video day before yesterday get 52 million views. The distribution is insane.
And you can quantify it. So somebody do the math for me. So 52 million views. Let's say your Facebook CPM on the cheap side is $7. Tell me how much in paid traffic that video generated. So you just have to divide it.
742,857.
So you get $750,000 worth of impressions for free because you've mastered distribution marketing.
And you don't need a big following. If you look at the numbers behind that video, 99% of the views are new followers.
For you and Explore people.
Brand new people.
So now people have no excuse. Because people used to have the excuse, hey, I need to master paid traffic. I need to either find an agency. I need to learn it myself. I got to spend money. I don't have it. Okay, well, I get it. Today, it's no longer the case because you have distribution marketing. So how are you distributing your products for people to find out? If you have a service, are you showcasing people your service every single day, multiple times a day? Or are you hiding it? If you're hiding it, nobody's going to see it. There's plenty of businesses on TikTok. They're out here with a voiceover, cutting lawn, and getting customers left, right, and center.
Totally.
So distribution marketing now makes it completely possible for everybody to get attention. You obviously have to pay for it. What are the costs? Well, it depends on how crazy of an operation.
Most of the time, it's just creativity.
Maybe you have to incur a bus ticket. Maybe you have to buy your product to shoot the product. Small things. but it's minimal because the return, the ROI is there. Now, what I like about this for brands is that now brands, and this is the final part, is you need your content. This is the key, right? Because if you want to master distribution, the content needs to be good. However, back in the day, let's say you wanted to hire an influencer or wanted to go into a studio to shoot your e-commerce product, you would think about it twice because you're like, dang, if this person posts once, maybe I'll get 100,000 views and it won't be worth it. Or I have to spend a lot of money on this shoot. I don't know if this campaign will go well. Today with distribution, you can repurpose the same video 1,000 times. So now the lifespan and the shelf life of the content is higher. Therefore, you can invest more into it, which used to not be the case because you would need new creatives when what? The audience fatigued. If you could make no more videos for the rest of your life and just recycle what you already have, and you would obviously get new eyeballs. Why? Because there's 8 billion people out there. So it's like there's plenty of people out there to go around with the content you already have done. How I did it is we built a distribution system. And in our distribution system, we created multi-page accounts. So I have thousands of accounts. In my first,
you controlled all those accounts?
All of them. Yeah. So you can have affiliate programs. You can hire people to come work for you. They're called clippers. There's the short form clippers. Today, I have about 150 people working for me in that distribution department. We do about 150 to 200 million views per month on short form. And my CPM is 2 cents. So I think I have 500x cheaper than your average cost for 1,000 views on Facebook.
This is partners, paid down partners, because I see that as your internal. Because the other model is reverse of what you just said, which is you incentivize someone to do. If people are listening, they can't afford to hire 150 people like you have done. The way they can do it is the other way, which is you basically, every time someone signs up to your product, because of you've created an account for someone, they get a piece of it.
Yeah.
So an affiliate model, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you can have an affiliate model.
It's the reverse of what you said, because you've got the funds to go and hire those people.
But simultaneously, I didn't start that way. How I started was I would also pay per view.
Right.
So you pay in direct proportion to the value that the person provides, which if you're thinking that people are just going to work for free and get you views for free, you're delusional. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it does. By the way, I've got fans. I've never done this. So I actually have people that are making my content. What I think they're doing is they're trying to make money off TikTok.
Absolutely.
So they've taken my YouTube videos. I haven't done this.
And they're getting paid for the views.
Yeah. So that's another model, right? And that's organic.
But this is where it gets even better. It's when you add the pay-per-view that you give them and you add the TikTok pay-per-view.
Right.
Because TikTok's already giving them this. Now you double it down and give them something on top of it.
So you give them a baseline salary and now you give them an upside. This is not known.
Obviously it's not known. That's why most people don't do it.
But I'm shocked it's not known. Why is it not common knowledge? I mean, you would think that people like TikTok, they should pay us to do this, by the way. We've just basically explained why TikTok is a channel you've got to be on, because Instagram is different. Instagram doesn't pay you for views. It
doesn't.
YouTube pays you for views, but it's incredibly tough as a platform. So it's kind of interesting that right now, back to what we were talking about earlier, right now is probably the time to start a business because this distribution is still available.
And it's cheap, it's available, and social platforms are competing against each other to offer the best distribution. Because right now they're realizing that they're not in the business of making money, they're in the business of surviving.
Right.
Because all these social media platforms that exist, dude, they're burning fucking money left, right, and center to hold on to users.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is go to where people are distributing you the best. For example, during the World Cup, you would watch the matches. And what was running on the ads, right? We need to be aware. It said YouTube Shorts. I'm like, okay, YouTube is probably going to push YouTube Shorts.
Right.
So I took 4 different pages, right? Built out just a YouTube Shorts, did 1 million followers on all 4 different pages of my own content, the same content. We were talking about repurposing, right? The content on all 4 different pages through short form, did over 1 million followers.
Yeah. We've had exactly the same experience. YouTube Shorts now are fighting with TikTok.
Yes.
But YouTube are backed by Google, Alphabet. They actually have money. They're not burning money.
Exactly.
So unlike TikTok, which actually has a bit of a difficult financial model, if you're not on YouTube Shorts right now and taking advantage of that, and like you say, it doesn't have to be you on camera talking to people. It can be like, I know someone who's unpacking videos and he's just using white gloves and unpacking videos, and people
get tens of millions of views.
Get tens of millions of views, and then people can buy the product down below. So you don't have to be on camera. You can be an introvert and still leverage all of this. You don't have to be an extrovert.
Yes, you don't even have to talk on camera. You can just have an AI voiceover. Just write. You don't even have to write the script.
Yeah.
Like that's how insanely automated this thing's getting. Dude, when I had to start doing e-commerce back in 2017, I had to sit down, think about everything, think about the copy, think about the hook, I can just tell ChatGPT, give me 19 different hooks, give me a script that is X amount of words long. I want it to have this narrative. I want it to have Apple commercial vibes. I want it to be simple for kids. And then you read it and then you tweak it, you work on it a little bit. But 90% of the work, dude, it's done. Crazy. You don't even have to have a fucking product.
It's never been easier, is it?
It's never been easier.